Welcome to the Tales of The Unwanted, where a bunch of cosplayers sit around and play Dungeons & Dragons, a tabletop roleplay game where you roll the dice and anything could happen. Before the adventurers travel further into the Deadlands to complete the quest set by the human king Tazlos, we're going to give you an insight to the world of Ilazria. This episode, we're going to look at the history and races of Ilazria. During the first age of recorded time, the dragons roamed freely across the skies and land of Ilazria, the vast majority being of good or lawful nature. They were not feared beasts, but just another race who traded and communed with all peacefully. Sometime during the First Age, the dragons bonded with several individuals of other races. This mutual bond strengthened both of them. The individuals who gained this bond and trust from the dragons were able to travel on the dragons, and from then on became known as riders. The dragons and their riders became the peacekeepers and defenders of the weak in Ilazria for almost 1,000 years. The rest of the realm prospered. Being an island, it relied on the ports to bring in and sell goods from the continent. The humans, dwarves, high elves and dragonborn run these ports, sharing the goods and wealth across the realm. The mountains were mined by the dwarves and gnomes, fetching ores for metals, jewels and precious minerals. Each mountain had a dwarven settlement or castles for the miners to work and live. These settlements were also the gateways for the Underdark, where the drow and tieflings live in isolation, barely making contact with the other races. All races were free to roam across the island with no racial resistance. The land was not free from battle or conflict, however. The forests and some open spaces were occupied by beasts and bandits who did attack weary travellers. The dragons and their riders would often come to the aid of these. This is why they were highly respected across the land. However, towards the end of the First Age, some began to envy the dragons and their riders. The human High King Feron Tazlos was a passionate king. He respected and communed often with the dragons, but his son Turel Tazlos had a growing hatred for them. No one knows where this hatred was born from, but King Feron Tazlos suddenly fell ill and died within days. Turel, who was only 21 at the time, was then crowned High King of the human kingdoms. The new king called to all human kingdoms to combine together or be destroyed. The other 9 kingdoms reluctantly gave in as the High King commanded a great army and navy. He was now the only human king in Ilazria. However, King Tazlos' ambition did not rest there. He now had the largest army that Ilazria had ever seen. The navy increased vastly also. This new army struck immediately at the High Elf, Wood Elf and Dwarven regions who were not prepared, and several of the smaller kingdoms, towns and villages fell to the humans. The dragon riders fought back furiously, but the sheer number of the human army, along with the technological advancements stolen from the dwarves and gnomes, proved too much for the dragons and the riders. In just 30 years, the dragons had gone from almost 2,000 to merely 100, and the riders were even fewer. The High Elves made a truce with the High King to control the west border in exchange for a percentage of their exported and imported goods in their harbour. The Wood Elves only asked to control 3 small woodland regions to appease the gods. Although High King Tazlos only believed in the one true god, he was advised by his council to let them have the 3 regions. The Second Age had now begun. The Age of Men. The Dragonborn all converged to their origin region at the foot of the last Dragon Kingdom. The High King mustered up his army for one final push against the dragons, but learned of a powerful five-headed dragon that took home northeast of the human capital. Taslos took a regiment of his best soldiers to the lair of Tiamat. 5 days later, Taslos returned with only his lead general, Dalhom the Crusher. The rest of the regiment disappeared, but they dragged with them 5 dragon heads, declaring the death of Tiamat. A large fortress kingdom was built on the border of Tiamat's old region, and the capital being dubbed the Crimson Palace. High King Taslos remained in his palace for a further 20 years, the whole realm of Ilazria waiting for him to finish his move and conquer the rest of the island. On the opposite end of the kingdom, one of the wood elf kingdoms that fell to the humans began to wither and decay swiftly. Within 5 years, the entire region is void of plant and animal life. The mountain on the coast cracks open, pouring out thick smoke, lava oozing down the mountain. A constant cloud hung over the area. The human army immediately retreated north after many sightings of skeletal creatures roaming and attacking scouts. And that brings us to the present day with the Unwanted. Since the start of High King Taslos' rule, humans have not been trusted among other races. Most humans only follow the king under oppression. To speak out against the king marks the end of your entire family. Humans who are sympathetic of other races are often outlanders or hermits, or live in Cotsdale and surrounding region. However, these still pretend to remain loyal to the king in fear for their families. The western coast is ruled by the noble high elves who thrive on their high status and riches. Even the poorest high elves are far richer than any human worker. Their naval might is the same power, or maybe greater than the human armada. The high elves prosper from their trading routes with the western continent of Dralahom. They have a trade agreement, however, with the humans, but secretly train their army. The wood elves dwell in their treehouse kingdoms, fiercely defending the forests. They are cautious of all races and long for the return of the dragon rule. In the eastern woods, the wood elves guard a secret that only they and the dragonborn know. True warriors that are filled with honor, they believe the dragons are the true rulers of Ilazria and will protect them fiercely. They worship the dragon god Daigoran, who was a great warrior in a faraway land of Ceremor. He freed all the slaves in Ceremor by sacrificing himself, but was sent hopping through time and space. The Dragonborn now in the Second Age protect the final dragon region and sworn enemies of humans. The Dragonborn are very suspicious of all races bar wood elves, but not easily trusting. The Underdark is a vast array of tunnels, catacombs, and underground chasms. This is home to the Drow, the Dark Elves. Before the human advanced across Ilazria, the Drow traded with the Wood Elves, but had an ancient enemy in the High Elves. This long-lasting rivalry has been bloody and filled with hatred. The true reason behind their conflict has been long lost forgotten. As soon as the humans began their attack, the Drow disappeared into their underworld realm, rarely to be seen again. When they are seen, they are mainly assassins, but the majority who do see them see nothing else but the Vastron, the afterlife. In the middle of the First Age, many humans sold their souls to become dragon riders. They were tricked, however, and did not receive the power they desired. Their bodies changed into devil-looking forms and cast out of human societies. They mainly live in the Underdark now as a society of tieflings, who are all descendants of these twisted humans. The orcs of Ilazria have no home but live on the sea. They pillage villages on the coast and rarely seen inland. These brutal pirates scrounge what they can to live and take what they can just to spite the landlubbers. The High Elves are the greatest enemy on the sea due to their mighty navy. Humans also have a hatred for these greenskins. Dragons, however, do enjoy the orcs visiting the shores, as orc is a delicacy to them. Half-orcs are usually left on the island after the result of pillaging. They are very rarely welcome anywhere, so wandering aimlessly through the wilderness. The dwarves of Ilazria are the source of all stone and metal materials in Ilazria. There were once 5 massive mountains mined by the dwarves. After the human invasion, only 2 remained. The kingdom of Balafol is under constant human attack from the surface and darker beasts in the mines below. Dorthenor in the southeast is protected by the Wood Elves. The dwarves live peacefully with the gnomes as they treat each other as equals. Together, the dwarves and gnomes create incredible machines in their kingdoms. Most are secret to the outside world. However, the humans have seized ballistas, siege towers, and heavily armoured carts. The halflings live peacefully in the northwest of the island. They are ignorant to the war going on. They never leave their little town, as traders come to them and exchange goods. Their farming communities thrived, blessed with magic no matter the season. So thanks very much for watching, everyone, and make sure to tune in 2 weeks' time, where we're going to take you a little bit more into detail about the characters in The Unwanted and also some of the NPCs that they've encountered so far. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share with your friends, and go onto our Facebook page, facebook.com/Tales of The Unwanted. Thanks very much.